Hi, it's May 2019. My name's Lisa Courier, and welcome to A Seat at the Table. A seat at the table is what I call a place that's safe. I remember when I was a little kid, we used to have supper at the table every night. My mom would cook, we'd all sit down, we'd talk about our day. And as I grew up and my son grew up, we did the same thing. We're missing that in our communities right now because rents are so high. Moms and dads both have to work. It could be single dads with kids and single moms with kids. All the activities that go on, and baseball, soccer, swimming, all those type of things that we don't necessarily get to sit down every night and discuss with our children or our families. I think that we're missing a lot of respect in the community lately. I don't know if it's lately. I just know that with the massive social media stuff that's going on, we do have more instantaneous news, if you will, some fake, some not. I know our community feels unsafe right now. They think that there's a rise in, aggressive violence, which happens to be true across the United States. It's not just here in Butte County. We want to have this place for people to use for as a call for help. I won't be silenced. Folks in need that want to express what their needs are, help if we need help when we need a ride, or advocates over in the court. Let's say you get in some trouble or something happens and you need some help there. Also, we want to be a positive, solutions-based podcast. We're not here to flame people, argue with people. You could, I would say that it's okay if you don't like me or if you don't like my views, because the way I feel about it is I'm secure within myself in order to know that everybody has their differences. And the beautiful part about that is we can agree to disagree, but sometimes out of disagreements, and I'm not talking about arguments or fighting, sometimes out of common consideration, communication, and speaking to one another, we can find that once in a while we hear that nugget, we hear something that really we hadn't thought about in our own mind, so maybe we're not always right. I can guarantee you that I'm not always right, but I do try my best to do what's best for myself and my family and the people that I surround myself with. I want to tell you a little story, and this is how I want to base interactions with the people that I know and love, and the people who are new friends to me. I was a little girl. I was probably about 9 or 10 years old, and my dad loved car shopping. Oh my goodness. He loved car shopping and he loved house shopping. Well, I have sisters that loved going through the houses and looking at different designs and things like that. I know my sister, Cheryl, for sure, loved that part of going with my dad. I loved the car shopping. And so one day my dad says, do you want to go with me? And I said, yeah, Daddy. So we went and we go over to this. My dad was, he died when I was 17. He was 38 years old of pancreatic cancer. But we went to a Mercedes dealership, and he was pretty progressive, ahead of his time, and he had on bleached jeans, which now they sell them faded, and a pair of sneakers, and a little girl by his hand, and walked into a Mercedes dealership. And they said, we were walking around looking at cars, and no one helped us. We walked out, and my dad said, can we sit down for a minute? And I said, yes. He said, did you notice what just happened? And I said, no. What just happened? And he says, well, we walked into the store, and we went to a very expensive car dealership, and I had on my jeans and my tennis shoes, and you by my side, and not anything bad about those things. But the people viewed us as someone who could not come into the store and be able to buy that vehicle. They didn't know that I could come in and lease that vehicle, or I could pay cash for that vehicle. They judged us by me being single dad with a kid walking in. They judged us by what we were wearing because we were comfortable because it was a weekend. And I want you to understand, And this was my life lesson. This is my life lesson that I've taught my son. This is my life lesson I think I repeated numerous times. The life lesson is we do not judge anybody by the way that they look. The color of their skin, the manner in which they speak, the way that they're dressed, if they're homed or unhomed, if they're dirty or clean. Because those are the people who just simply could be a really big asset in our life. An asset meaning they could become a loved one in our life. They could be our brother. They could be our sister. They could be somebody who's in need that we need to help. Or they could be just some person. And the way that I view the world is that we walk the path. We walk the path, and I'm not going to talk religious talk, but I do believe in my heart that we walk the path of Jesus. And in that path, we do what we can in order for to give to others. We live our life with empathy and compassion, and we try and do what's best for the manner in which we do. So a little about me. I used to be a manager of application engineers. We built web apps for a large corporation. I did the first game website on the internet in 1993, and in 1994 I did the largest game company's first website, Electronic Arts. In 1997, I did the Berserk Network, working with the fabulous engineers that did You Don't Know Jack Online, the first all-encompassing game online that took over your entire screen. And actually, I was working for Berkeley Systems at the time, and we won the Webby for the best game site on the internet. Throughout the years, then I became managing application engineers in web groups, and we did some fabulous work over at Sun Microsystems, and that was my favoriteest job ever in the history of the world. Now I moved to a small rural town up in Butte County called Chico, California, and I am a mental health advocate. And what that means is that I help folks suffering homelessness, mental health issues, and addiction. And I think, in the group of people that I work with, there are some that work really well with just people who are have addiction issues, alcohol, drugs, heroin, methamphetamines. And then there are other people who work really well with people who suffer any form of mental illness. And I call all those people my people, because every single day is a different story. Every single day is a different success. There are some days that are so frustrating that you can't even imagine. And a lot of times that doesn't even have to do with the people who we're servicing. It has to do with the lack of services that we have across this country for people suffering. In the North State, we have no detox area for people. So even if we had, say, John, and he was out on the street and he wanted to become clean and go to detox, but he had no medical insurance because he's a homeless guy, so he was on Medi-Cal. Do you know that he is not qualify to go into many of the detoxes? Do you know that most all sober living environments are religious based? It's kind of interesting, isn't it? So that's what I do here in Butte County. I'm an advocate for people who are in jail, and I help their families navigate the system. I'm really good friends with the inmate advocate at the jail, and she refers people over to me so that way I can help the families maneuver for their loved ones that are sitting there. I sit a lot of hours within the court system with clients. I had a client today. I just want to tell you I'm so proud of her, and you will hear from her because she's going to be a guest on my show soon. But she's been a runner all of her life. She's been an addict and has mental illness. So when she wasn't going through taking her medication for her bipolar, she was self-medicating, which is very dangerous. And she lost custody of her child. And the beautiful thing is today I sat with her in court, and she's been sober now for months. The past 6 months, she has been attending NA or AA just about every day. Goes to every single meeting that she's supposed to. Has unsupervised visitation finally, and is going to be one of the first people in Butte County, well, in Chico, California, at the court to be on mental health diversion court. She has unsupervised visitation now with her child. She's about ready to become housed and help start an SLE and be an advocate for those who were suffering just like she was. She's an amazing young woman. I have a guest coming up that's from probation. She's retired from probation here in Butte County, but she goes all around the country teaching different aspects. And the thing that's nice about her is that she's brutally honest, but she understands that people don't understand the way the system works. We have community yelling about get those people off the street, or you city council aren't doing shit to help me, or you board of county supervisors, what are you doing to help me? And unless you understand the system and speak to the change of the system, which is through laws and advocating at the state or city level, that's the way things can change. So she's going to be a breath of fresh air for me to explain to folks what exactly is the system and what's happening with that. I also have the Chief Privacy Officer for Cisco, which is really a big deal, Michelle Dennedy, and I'm proud to call her a friend of 25 years. We worked together at Sun Microsystems when I was doing web development and managing applications that herself and the other lawyers there wanted to get done for trademarks and logos and such like that. So she'll give us some inspiration of on safety, online safety, and what we can do. And it is a right. It is not a privilege to have safety on there. I also have an 11-year-old. So I'm a big type girl. I'm not going to mince words about it. When I was 9 years old, I was already 5'8" and a half. I was a big girl always. And, sometimes your classmates and that can be quite cruel and call you names. And, you don't really fit with the 9 and 10, 11-year-olds, but you don't actually have the maturity yet for the 15, 16-year-olds. So she's in a bit of a little bind right now where she's not really feeling great. Her and I have been having some talks about we have to admit that we feel sad about these things. We don't like to have body shaming, and we don't like to be treated as a little kid when we think that we're older, and a lot of times people think they treat us like we're older than we are because we look as if we were. So she's going to be on the show, and hopefully she is a joy. She's a cancer survivor. She had kidney cancer when she was 1.5 years old. She's cancer-free now, and she is one of the loves in my life, and she hopefully will be a really big inspiration to you. We also have coming up somebody from the Board of Supervisors and someone from the City Council. Alex Brown from City Council and Tammy Ritter from the Board of Supervisors will be on the show this month too as well. I just want to say there is a solution for everything. We don't all have the answers. And I think in this community what we need to do is we need to stop and take a breath, get a viewpoint on many different things, see what we can do about it, and see how that all plays out. I believe that you'll be interested in a lot of the topics that we have. I believe that it's an exciting time for change. It's an exciting time to actually try and become peacemakers. I'm not always a peacemaker. They call me a disruptor sometimes because if you speak out against some inequalities or things that are going wrong with folks that aren't proper treatment of people just because of the classification of where they live. So we have all the way from poverty to the elitist. And, we need to meet somewhere in the middle on this, people. That's what we need to do. And it's, sad that we even have to say that or do that. So a seat at the table and what I call we're missing the family table is about unity. It's about communications with one another. It's about talking about our day, what bothers us and what doesn't. We have to stop holding things in. There's so many people who are not getting acknowledged or being bullied or a lot of different things. We cannot go out and be mean to people. And just because we're sitting behind the computer doesn't mean that we have the right or any other thing to write mean things about folks. We can't be, we have a fact, we have our opinion, but do we really have to get down and dirty mean? I mean, there was a lady online the other day, and you know what she did? She looked up a history of another person, and this person has changed her life immensely. And she looked up the life of that person and started posting something that happened years and years ago. Now, come on, folks. I mean, if you have to look that hard, are you that discontent within yourself that you have to do such negative outbursts? I just don't. I really don't understand. What we need is and I'm not going to say that I'm Pollyanna. That's for sure. I am not. But I think what I've been missing a lot is laughing with people, karaoke night. You know what I mean? Watching a good movie with your kid. I'm blessed to have the most fabulous son in the world, and he makes my day happy every day. There's other things within my life that I'm not happy about, but I know that every day I can go home and have supper with him and have a conversation. I know every day that we watch mindless TV once in a while to just laugh and we just talk about it. It's funny, right? So we have to find those instances within our lives in order to get to a solution that works for all of us. So that's a little bit about what we're going to be doing, and I look forward to having this podcast. Hopefully we're going to be doing it weekly, and once we get better at it, then we're going to be doing video podcasts. But for right now, a seat at the table is about if you need a call for help, don't be silenced by somebody who you think is better than you. Because quite honestly, let me clue you in that everybody puts their pants on the same, one leg at a time. And to that effect, it's the same story that I go back to with my dad in that lesson, is that we need to stop judging by what our situation is. We don't know what everybody's situation is. We don't know that the person walking down the street is in terrible, terrible pain because they lost someone, or they're just lost their job, or they're getting evicted, or they're homeless, or for whatever reason. We don't know what someone else's pain is until we walk into their shoes. So I would really like to get people more aware. I think there's another lesson here I'm going to tell you. So I've been a mental health advocate for over 25 years. And in the homeless population entrenched for the past 9 or 10 years. And with this big fire that we just had, the Camp Fire up in Paradise, Magalia, Concow, devastated tens of thousands of people. My family also lost 3 homes, my mom, my sister, and my nephew. And it's extremely a devastating experience for all. And even so, it's hitting people who were not actually lose everything in the fire, but actually people who are selling their homes now for the massive amount of dollars and evicting tenants that have been there 6, 10, 12 years, or raising their rent so high that people can't afford to live here. That's a scary thing. But the one thing that I'm so appreciative of my family And my sisters are like this, and my brother and my mother and my aunts. Is my sister was listening to someone speak about the homeless, and um, also how we are separating our regular homeless folks from the people who were displaced by the fire and their fire victims. And my sister, quite frankly, just said, "I'm sick of it." And I said, "You're sick of what?" And she says, "The marginalization of people." Yes, I am a victim of the fire. Yes, this is devastating. Yes, we lost everything that we had, and we're, having a very, very hard time to find a place to live, and it's not easy. And hopefully, we'll be able to stay in this area. But she said, "I am homeless." Do you hear her? I am homeless. I am a fire victim and I am homeless. There's no difference between me and the guy down the street that doesn't have a home, or someone over at the tourist shelter, because we don't know everybody's situation. You don't know if their parent or their loved one died and they lost their home. You don't know if their landlord raised their rent so high they lost their home. You don't know if the job just didn't work out and they lost their home. We don't know people's situations. So until we just walk in somebody else's shoes, we need to stop the judgment and your elitist attitudes. That's going to be it for now. And my name is Lisa Courier, and this is the first podcast for A Seat at the Table. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to hearing from you more. And you can find more. I'm going to post a schedule in a couple days of everything that's coming up, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.